My name's Nick West. I live in Langford, North Somerset, and I'm a former beer can collector. I was 16 years old. I was just starting getting interested in beer. I was a bit of a collector, so I thought, I'll combine the two. So I started out a small collection of beer cans. Obviously, I was only 16, so I wasn't old enough to buy them myself. So my parents used to buy me occasional ones as and when they remembered. We then moved house down to Somerset. I met my wife, and she bought me a book about beer can collecting, and that really inspired me and fired my enthusiasm. And 42 years later, I ended up with 9,300 cans. Basically, I collected beer cans for 42 years. It was a massive part of my life. I'd even had an extension built on one house to accommodate the cans, and then made my poor wife move to a large 5-bedroom Victorian house just purely to accommodate the collection. And I was always doing something to do with the beer cans, either researching beer cans, working out displays, or going around trying to find new cans. So as I say, it was such a massive part of my life that when eventually I decided that enough was enough and it was time to stop, it was a really tricky decision to make. It was a very hard decision to make, and it's taken me about 18 months to come to terms with that decision. So when I decided, there was 3 factors that made me realise that it was actually time to stop. One was I took early retirement from work, and obviously my finances weren't as strong as they had been previously. The second thing was my wife and I are going to move to another house, and obviously if we moved with 9,300 cans, we'd probably need a 5-bedroom house. If I downsized the collection, we could get away with buying a 3-bedroom house. And the final thing that made me decide that it was time to stop was the massive explosion of craft beer in cans. For the first 40 odd years of collecting, I was getting typically 150, 250 new cans a year, which was a reasonable amount. It was enough to keep you interested, but not too many to get you completely swamped. And then with the advent of craft beer in cans, that suddenly spiked up to 650 cans a year. So after a couple of years at 650 new cans a year, A, from a room point of view, and B, from the finance, because craft beer in cans are quite expensive, I just thought, well, this just cannot carry on. So those 3 factors together made me realise that it was time to stop.